This is the whiskey that Thomas Shelby is drinking. This is what all the fans of Peaky Blinders want to know about the whiskey that Thomas Shelby is drinking. Some are even curious about the strange effect that this whiskey has on him whenever he takes it. Why did he decide to drop the addict act in the season finale? It's quite alarming. Let's dive into the Peaky Blinders Whiskey. The Peaky Blinders show can't be talked about without the mention of booze and cigars. While most fans are all about the show's plot, others have taken their fanaticism to learn about the other interesting facts. Thomas Shelby's whiskey brand is one of them. Yeah, every whiskey should have a stupefying effect, but why does Tommy's whiskey make him so drunk and sober, to the extent of stirring up hallucinations about his past? At long last, Peaky Blinders has returned to our screens, but not as we know it. The Brummy gang leader is not the same as before. Thomas Shelby is very much an alcoholic in the Peaky Blinders show, as he is seen on several occasions, with a glass of alcohol in his hands through the seasons. In the previous seasons, the Peaky Blinders lead actor has undoubtedly shown whiskeys as his beverage of choice. After briefly picking up where Series 5 left off, the final series of the hit show whisked us 4 years on, where viewers were acquainted with the much-changed Tommy Shelby. We find the main man on the island of Miquelon off the east coast of Canada, and just hearing the Brummies speak French is odd enough. Well, the biggest shock is yet to come. Tommy propped himself up on a stool at the bar and ordered a glass of water. A glass of water? Is this the same Tommy Shelby? A tweet read, "Tommy said no to a drink and wants water?" Well, it turns out that Tommy has been sober for the entirety of the 4 years since the conclusions of Series 5. What if this whiskey has wrecked something in him and nudged him to change the habit of drinking? Organ damage or damage to his committed fans that have dubbed his character. Explaining why he decided to call last orders on his heavy drinking, Tommy said, "I have become a better man. I now realize that whiskey is just fuel for the loud engines inside your head. People don't just change, especially personalities like Tommy Shelby. Something must have happened." Indeed, he's committed to his sober way of life, as he refused multiple whiskeys under some extremely aggressive peer pressure. For many of us, all it takes is the simple suggestion, "Fancy a pint?" for us to immediately dump our self-imposed sobriety. But Tommy stuck to his guns in the face of provocation. And while his lifestyle may have changed, he proved the brutality he built his reputations upon is not confined to his past. Same old Tommy Shelby, it is just a whiskey that leaves our eyebrows quirk. When discussing the character of Tommy, his love for drinks is one of the most obvious, as he's seen countless times ordering drinks, most of which are whiskey. A show fan did track the number of times Tommy had a drink in the show and came up with a whopping 213 times from the season 1 to season 4. That's an average of 6 glasses per episode. A whopping 213 times. Come on, how many times would Jason do it? Nowhere near that. Maybe say Bond. Maybe. His preference for whiskey isn't hard to notice, and it was well known that when he was offered his whiskey when he invited Mr. Solomons to discuss business, he vetoed it, which became surprising to viewers. "What's wrong with our Tommy?" a fan said. Another fan was curious about the brand of whiskey that Tommy drank during the show. It is some kind of whiskey that can lose its flavor and prevent an addict from its consumption. Wait a minute. Is it the brand? Well, it would be dumb to know that the whiskey from Peaky Blinders doesn't exist, but rather a special brand of whiskey was invented for the show as the Whiskey Drunk. But it is the truth. Here's the part that gets interesting. What's Thomas Shelby drinking in the show? Okay, what's this whiskey type? The special whiskey is known as the Galglenny whiskey, a special Irish whiskey that the makers specially made for the show. It was made because the actual whiskey they drank wasn't really in existence, so they had to make an alternative. Just the same way Murphy mentioned that they never used or smoked real cigarettes. The creator of the show with badass props came up with alternatives which they smoke all through the show. Murphy still complained of medicinal problem even after all that? No way. He is still healthy and sane. Oh my, even the cigarettes are herbal. Most actors would rather drink any kind of whiskey that was available or vodka like 007. Nope, not Shelby. He and his brothers all drank the same Galglenny. Thomas Shelby, the magnetic cult figure, pours himself a glass all the time, hands raised midair with a toast to victory in his bar. Rich, bold, non-single malt whiskey. One fan had said about the Shelby whiskey, which he romanced with his old British accent. It's on the nose. Take your nose around the top of the glass. It's sweet up front, got caramel, like homemade cake. Pretty fruity, dark fruits, vanilla. Could this be what makes Shelby take a whole lot of it? Here's some little secrets that's been circling. Shh. Some have said that they don't drink real whiskey, taking tea instead of whiskey in most scenes. Some cast has mentioned this at time. Hey, it still doesn't change a thing, right? Whether he sits on a sofa, close to the bar, or walk with his brothers, whiskey is what we expect to see. Shelby and his whiskey are never inseparable. His whiskey is also caught up in his hot moments, whether when he was speaking French to when he is sitting and stealing conversations with Arthur in a room with barrels full of alcohol. Oh yes, there's a line. I forswore alcohol in his manly husky voice. The crazy bloody scene. Chills. You see, Tommy Shelby is never without his whiskey. Birmingham's whiskey, from the very moment his frail-looking face and riveting eyes graze our screens, and his mouth never stopped drinking up. Every true lover of Peaky Blinders is in love with our central hero and no waster of words. For Thomas, whiskey is his blood and life. Whiskey? Peak whiskey? Tommy Shelby's whiskey.